Hi, everyone. Suzanne Barnhurst here with this week four's lecture. We're going to be looking at chapters 3, 4, 5, and 6 as a lecture. And I'm going to just do a little backup review of what we started with in chapters 1 and 2, but very brief. So first, I want to say thank you very much for your projects. They were excellent, and they're also very informative. Each one of you picked out some really interesting components to why these companies are part of the Fortune 100 as far as their employees are concerned. And as you pointed out in your discussion forum, all three of those leaders were people focused, and that's what boils down to an organization where employees are satisfied and happy, feel like they're being treated fairly, and they trust the higher level executives, and they're comfortable, especially with the types of benefits and the not only financial benefits but other benefits that they get from working for those organizations. So I appreciate your discussion with one another and with me, and I'm taking it a step further in your presentations. So let's get started with a little small review of the chapters 1 and 2 in the marketing text, like as a background. So marketing is what I've done most of my life, and marketing right now rules the world. Marketing is what corporations do to consumers and to their stakeholders to make sure that their products are understood and needed within our society. We used to say in marketing, if you build it, they will come. Well, that's no longer. Now we are more focused on making sure that we provide customer value and meeting consumers' needs. We also, in marketing, we also do many things that make consumers think they need something, and we'll get to that later. But let's start for a little review of chapter 1, where we talked about what we used to call the 4 Ps: product, price, promotion, and place. Now they call place distribution. So marketing deals with each one of these 4 categories. Products are obviously a service or an idea. A good, a service or an idea. Price is what you exchange between the company and the consumer for what they think is fair. Promotion is just what it says. It's the promotion of your product. And distribution, or what we used to call place, is the logistics or the channels whereby you create and distribute your products or services. And in today's world, it's called logistics engineering. It's also called supply chain management. It has become a huge business now, specifically because of the different avenues we use to distribute things, including technology. And here at DeSales, we now have a major specialization in the MBA program just in supply chain management. So if you just think about that for a moment, there are 4 components: products, price, promotion, and distribution. And distribution is its own technology now. So think about what products are and what promotion is. And of course, what price is the essential element to us exchanging and companies surviving. So these 4 terms are called the marketing mix. And the marketing mix is what companies use to create value and build relationships with customers and their stakeholders. And that's the bottom line for marketing. That's what we do in marketing. We create value and build relationships. Today, we build relationships in a much different way than we did in the past. We build relationships using a great deal of technology and specifically social media. And we do that with both our customers and our stakeholders. Marketing does not take place in a vacuum. I remember when I first started in marketing many years ago, marketing was a department down the hall. And if you had an idea how you wanted to promote your program, or let's say you had a change you wanted to make, you marched yourself down to the Department of Marketing and you pled your case and hoped that they would help you develop some sort of brochure or pamphlet or sales pitch to get your product known. Marketing is no longer a department. Marketing is actually a concept, and how a company does business is through marketing. If you continue in the MBA program on a marketing specialization, you'll take a course that I also teach called Marketing Strategy. Excuse me. And in that, we'll talk about how the 4 Ps have changed to a different 4 Ps, and it has become more of an entire organization encompassing type of strategy. So you're not just selling your product, you're marketing your brand and your organization. And each and every department has something to do with that. But that's enough of that, and you'll see that sometime in the future. The marketing environment is similar to the management environment that it's affected by, that we discussed in the management portion. It creates marketing environment creates forces that affect the ability of the marketer to create value. And those forces are the same: political, legal, environmental, etc. I am going to talk a little bit about one of those forces that is just a little bit different than the management side. Let me just add one thing to this. So most companies today subscribe to the marketing concept, which is you satisfy the customer needs through a set of coordinated activities that tend to help you achieve your goals. So that end up achieving your goals, not just tend to, but that they end up achieving your goals. So that's the marketing concept. Satisfy customer needs through coordinated activities of every department. Okay, so in chapter 3, we look at the environment, as I mentioned, and the environment, marketing departments have the same job that the managers do, in that they are constantly scanning the outside environment for information, data, changes in the market that they're in. And what they do with that information is collect it and actually continue to review it on a regular basis to see what the trends are. And you know for yourselves how busy you are between your work and your school and your pieces of technology that keep you connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're virtually not unavailable. And consider that in multiplied for a big corporation in how they need to continue to stay on top of things. So environmental scanning gives companies an edge over other organizations because they have a data available, but it's not enough just to look at the information and say, hey, this is what's, talk to each other at the water cooler about what's going on. You have to be able to use that information, bring it into your organization, and then make it into data and facts to help managers do their job in accordance to what's going on in the environment. It also becomes a part of the strategic planning process that we talked about in the management portion of the course, because you're going to take that information and use that information to make your decisions about what's happening. So the environmental forces, as I mentioned, are the same. They are legal and regulatory technology. They're also technology. They're also focused now on what we call green marketing in regards to socio-cultural marketing. And there's one other one that's important, which is competitive forces. We don't talk much about competitive forces in the management portion because we look at it more in marketing. But the competitive forces, page 64 in the text, these are other organizations that market products that are similar to or can be substituted for your product. So as we mentioned back in the chapter 1 or 2 of the management text, companies have competitors that compete with them on a number of different levels. And the example we used was McDonald's. McDonald's competitors include things like quick marts, like Wawa, and other outside competitors, and other organizations like that. And even today, even some of the grocery stores can be considered competitors for McDonald's because they make food to go. There are 4 different types of competitors. There are brand competitors. Those are companies that compete with your brand, and the text gives the example of Coke and Pepsi. One of the biggest competitions in our culture these days has been for a long time, probably will be for a long time in the future. There's product competitors, which are companies that they compete in the same market with the same different features and benefits, like smartphones. There's generic competitors that have a different product that solves the same problem for your company. And then there's total budget competitors that compete for limited financial resources. So those are the 4 competitors, but the one that is the most significant are the brand competitors. They're significant because we as buyers technically seem to look at products by brand. The example I often use in this is laundry detergent. Many of us grew up in a household where our mothers used the same laundry detergent all the time. And if I say Tide, I'll bet you can tell me exactly what color the box or the bottle is, what 2 colors that brand is, because it's been around so long and many people have used it. Same thing with vehicles. If I say Ford versus Subaru, you know there's a difference between those 2 types of cars. So the brand competition is the much greater issue for marketing companies. Okay, so we gather that information in the environmental scanning in those different categories, and then we develop a strategic process that helps us market our products and services using that information to our advantage. Okay, so I'm sorry, we're in chapter 3 here. So we move now into chapter 4, which is the nature of social responsibility, because social responsibility helps companies today gain support for the overall brand. Almost all corporations now have a social responsibility page on their website, but they embrace and support social responsibility in that because they know their consumers are actually embracing social responsibility these days. So in marketing, social responsibility refers to a company's obligation to maximize and impact its negative, maximize its positive impact and minimize its negative impact on society as a whole, particularly within the area that it does business in one sense, but in another sense, as a country as a whole. It deals with the total effect of marketing decisions on the society. So there are a lot of people that say that social responsibility is not, this type of philosophy is not the responsibility of a corporation. It's more the responsibility of individuals and people that buy those products. There's pros and cons for both, but mostly today, all companies support this idea of being socially responsible. The stakeholders this affects are those people who have a stake or claim in some aspect of the company. That can be different markets, the industry, it can be consumers, investors, shareholders, your suppliers. if you work with the governments, communities, and many other people that are touched by your business. There is evidence that suggests that if you ignore stakeholder demands for being responsible, that it can negatively impact the trust the customer has for you, and it can even violate some government regulations, which we all know that. There's been a lot of incidents where companies have done things unethically and illegally with chemicals, things like that affect communities. So that's been around for a while, but now we've expanded this into a broader picture of social responsibility. It's also been shown that social responsibilities can generate positive publicity and sales. They have a positive effect on local communities and sometimes indirectly help the organization by attracting goodwill and publicity in potential employees. An organizational culture that's conducive to social responsibility helps what we might call greater employee commitment and improve your business performance. If employees are more committed, then their business performance may improve. Now, we saw that when you did your management presentations, when you talked about how the employees feel more committed to the organization, social responsibility was part of that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit later. There are dimensions to social responsibility. The text uses the term marketing citizenship, which is what they strive for. They strive to develop a strategic focus for fulfilling the economic, the legal, the ethical, and the social responsibilities that the stakeholders expect of them. Okay, I'm not going to go through that. You can read that yourself. But organizations that are under pressure to undertake dimensions of social responsibility can be demonstrate a balanced perspective on stakeholder interests. And if you turn to page 96 in your text, you'll see the pyramid of corporate social responsibility. So it has a foundation of economics. All companies have an economic responsibility to be profitable. That's why they have stakeholders. That's why they are in the business. They not only do that, they provide a return on investment for investors, they create jobs for the community, and they contribute goods and services to the economy. So that's the foundation of the social responsibility pyramid. Next, they have to comply with the legal policies in regards to their business and regards to any other laws and regulations that apply to them. They need to compete fairly and obey all of them. The next one is ethics. Ethical marketing efforts refers to principles and standards that define acceptable conduct as determined by their stakeholders, the public, government regulations, consumers, private interest groups, and other principles in the organization. Ethical marketing decisions foster trust, which helps build long-term marketing relationships. And that's exactly what a marketing-oriented organization wants to do. They want to supply the needs for the stakeholders, and they want to build long-term marketing relationships because that benefits their organization as well as the stakeholders. The last part of the corporate responsibility triangle is philanthropy. They're not required of a company, but they promote welfare and goodwill within the organization. Same thing as economic, legal, and ethical dimensions of social responsibility. Many organizations will link a product to what we call cause marketing, which is usually a social cause usually it's on a short-term basis. And some companies go beyond financial contributions to adopt a strategic philanthropy approach, which means They use the core competencies and resources to address key stakeholders. Not REI. There's another organization, I know you know it. There's another company that sells environmental clothing and outdoor wear, starts with a P. It escapes me at the moment. They're very well known for their social causes. Their entire website is loaded with the information about their social causes as far as the environment is concerned. And they use that as a platform to sell their products to a specific target market, but they also sell to other people too. And in a few minutes, it'll come to me and I'll tell you what it is. Sorry. Okay, so in our area, there are a lot of companies that are very, very generous in giving back to the community. A couple of them that come to my mind are Just Born, Air Products. There's another one that comes to my mind from up there that escapes me at the moment. But those organizations, Lehigh Valley Hospital Network, give back to the community in big ways and often do some cause marketing. Many times smaller businesses will do cause marketing because it's a simple thing to do. They'll identify a cause that needs attention and they'll link their product to it and say, for every cup of yogurt we sell, we give X number of dollars to this organization. The Susan G. Komen Foundation is hooked up with Yoplait yogurt for that reason. I'm not sure if they're still doing that, but that's the kind of thing that they do. But a lot of smaller businesses will do a cause marketing program to help the cause, but also to draw attention to themselves. Again, there's a little controversy about that, but in my perspective, I think it's a win-win for both. Okay, so what are some social responsibility issues that we need to bring to light? And there are three. There's sustainability, consumerism, and community relations. Sustainability covers things such as the long-term well-being of the environment. It also looks at the assessment and improvement of business strategies, work practices, technologies, and lifestyles, while maintaining the natural environment. So the natural environment is usually the focus of sustainability. Many companies make contributions to environmental protection organizations. Products that are certified as green carry a special logo. I noticed lately that even on a box of crackers, there was the green seal logo that showed that they're a green organization. And it was for rice crackers or something. Let's see, the environmental movement in marketing includes many different groups whose values and goals often conflict. So it's a constant discussion going on about what works and what doesn't, and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Some environmentalists and marketers think that the company should work to protect and preserve the national environment by doing 4 goals. Eliminate the concept of waste. I know DeSales University did a big project and determined what to do with waste. And now we have all those trash and recycling receptacles in the classrooms. Many companies do that sort of thing. Reinvent the concept of a product is one of the things that they want companies to do. In other words, think of the product in a different way that isn't the same. And the company that I'm trying to come up with the name of, the clothing company, they actually take their clothes back, because Patagonia will actually take clothes back. If you wear it for 5 years and you don't like it anymore, you can send it back to Patagonia, and they actually have a website that sells those used clothing, because people value their clothes, think the clothing itself has high value, and they're willing to pay for a used product. And that's the reinvent the concept of a product. Instead of making more, you reuse things. You want to make prices reflect the cost and sustainability, and make environmentalism profitable, which is difficult. It's very difficult, but they're working on it. The second area of social responsibility issue is consumer issues, consumerism, which is the efforts of different organizations to protect the rights of us as consumers. I mentioned earlier about the issues with companies dumping chemicals in the ground. That is probably one of the basic things, one of the first things that ever started this kind of thing. And if you remember the name Ralph Nader, he was the champion for helping companies see that they had to put out a quality product instead of giving people lemons, which was, I think, one of his initial things. Cars that were not of any value, he called lemons. So he was one of the first people to do that. John F. Kennedy spelled out our 4 basic rights as far as consumerism goes. They are the right to safety, the right to be informed, the right to choose, means we need a variety of products, and the right to be heard. We have a complaint. So that's the second part of social responsibility. The last one is community relations, and community relations with a corporation within the community in which it's involved and entrenched in. They engage community relations to avoid, one of the reasons they do it is to avoid harmful actions. They want people to know them, and they want to have a relationship with them so that when issues do come up, there won't be any negative effect from it. Corporate philanthropy is on the rise, as I mentioned. Firms can significantly improve a community's quality of life through employment, economic development, financial contributions to education, health, cultural, and recreational. You did your projects on Target, Wegmans, and Marriott, and each one of you pointed out a component of social responsibility in regards to community relations, their employees, the community around them. Terry told us about Marriott and its education program to educate people within the community so that they can work for their company. And you all talked about the benefits that employees get, and most of those employees are part of the community. Target has given $1 billion towards education across the country. And there's I mentioned the Marriott education thing. In the text, they talk about some companies will give employees as awards gift cards to local businesses to foster a relationship with them. So we're looking again at some sustainability within companies. Now, I'd like to share my screen here for a minute, if you bear with me. And I want to show you Air Products website about sustainability. Sustainability for Air Products is an entire part of their philosophy. They discuss it very clearly, and they're very committed to it. It's part of their strategy. Sustainability creates our growth opportunities, and our growth opportunities support our sustainability focus and goals. I don't want to make you dizzy by doing this, but I just want to skip down here to their sustainability strategy, which they call Grow, Conserve, and Care. Grow responsibility through sustainable driven opportunities that benefit the consumers and our world. So they're not just concerned with local, but they're concerned with the world. Conserve resources and reduce environmental footprints through cost-effective improvements, and care for our employees, customers, and communities, protecting our license to operate and grow. And if you read further on with this sustainability strategy, it's pretty interesting how this is a focus for them and it's part of their strategy. And I want to stop here and take a moment to I'm going to take a moment here to go back to my screen. Sorry. Let's see if I can, oh yeah, okay. Let's see if I can switch here to Just Born. Okay, we're back. I wanted to share Just Born too. This is Just Born, the candy company in Allentown. And their sustainability is, social responsibility is to work with the community through a grant program. And they have this grant program that is open every 2 years. They provide grants for a number of reasons. And the summary of it is the health and well-being of its focus is the health and well-being of children and their families, and is the primary focus of their corporate giving program. We make grants in these areas: art and culture, education, health and human services, community development, environmental education, and COVID-19. And they have, I think they do it, I think I said they do it every 2 years. And there's your little Peeps guy. They are a fabulous company. They make Goldenberg's peanut chews, if you didn't know that, besides Peeps. And they also do some really interesting things in the community. They have teams within the facility. And what they do with those teams is they assign them a certain, what's the word I want? Not group home. Well, I guess there are some group homes they assign them to, but there are some residencies in the community that have single woman, battered women, group homes, and the different departments take these homes, mostly where children are, and they take turns providing birthday parties and other events for the children in those homes. So they do a really good job of staying within the community, sort of under the radar. I'm going to stop sharing here. I only have a few minutes left, and you couldn't stand there with that. Oh, Lordy. Sounds bad. Correctly. Yeah. I'll be out. You stay. I'll be out in a minute. No, you can't come in here. No. I see you. I see you. I'm sorry. You stay out. Go downstairs with Daddy. Go downstairs with Daddy. Maybe Daddy will like a purple. See if Daddy has a purple. Downstairs. Go outside, see if there's a bird outside. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Let me shut the door. Okay, thank you. Sirs, please.